Jingle bells, Batman smells. Oh, hey guys, you just saw me putting up my Christmas decorations while singing my favorite Christmas carol of all time. By the way, if you didn't know that was my favorite Christmas carol of all time, you're an idiot, okay? If you didn't know that Jingle Bells, Batman Smells is my favorite Christmas carol of all time, again, you're an idiot. I need to say it 2 times because you're an idiot. But you know what? Let's not talk about how much you're a goddamn idiot and how much coal Santa should give you this year. We're here to talk about everything Christmas related. In November. Kind of an explanation I need to give here. Well, you see, every single time of the year, Christmas comes earlier and earlier and earlier. I don't even think this is an actual, just, something quirky that people say, just something that people say as a joke every single time Christmas comes around. I think this is an actual observation and now an actual fact that Christmas comes earlier and earlier every single year. I mean, I saw a Christmas commercial on October 31st, Halloween night. Yeah, that's definitely not the best time that's definitely not the best time to, show something as humble and innocent as a Christmas commercial during one of the most frightening times of the year. I mean, it's ridiculous, don't you think? You've probably seen commercials on Christmas on Halloween night also, but I just want to tell you that I also did. But the reason why I do my Christmas-related videos early in the year from, starting in November and ending in December is because, well, again, every single person seems to start Christmas at least a month before it's really supposed to start. Every single damn marketing company to date has done this, so honestly, why the hell shouldn't I? It's personally my favorite holiday of the year, my favorite time of the year. I mean, it is literally, in my opinion, the most wonderful time of the year. So, hell, I'm just going to start it early. Again, everyone else does, why shouldn't I? And besides, my channel, I could do a whole Christmas month, I could do a whole month of Christmas reviews in July if I wanted to. I mean, so yeah, that's why I start my Christmas-related videos in November as opposed to in December. So today, I'm going to start off my Christmas videos by reviewing The Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits finale, as well as a few episodes I need to catch up on. And again, you're probably wondering why I'm reviewing this and starting this off for the Christmas season. Well, again, going back to this is my channel, so deal with it. I really don't review the most universally considered Christmas specials or films. I usually review the specials and TV series or, movies that I consider to be Christmas related at least. I also do try to mix in universally considered Christmas films and specials, but they are mostly the ones that I consider to be Christmas related and the ones that I usually watch around this holiday season. So that's why I'm starting off Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits for my Christmas videos. But also with the videos that aren't exactly Christmas related, I do tend to give somewhat of an explanation to why I consider them to be Christmas related. Well, Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits at least mostly takes place in an area that's covered by snow, the South Pole. But it's invaded by the North Pole, and Santa's in the North Pole, and this takes place mostly in the winter season from late December, which Christmas is in late December, to late February, so the winter season. So, yeah, it's Christmas related. Wow, I made it out of that by the skin of my teeth. I can definitely tell you that. But enough explanations. I gave you plenty, and it's already almost 5 minutes into this video, so I should probably get into what I'm going to be reviewing today, which is Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits. The episodes The Guide, A New Spiritual Age, an episode I'm forgetting, but trust me, I'm going to get to it in a minute. Fuck it, I can't get to it. Some episode I'm missing, Harmonic Convergence, Darkness Falls, and Light in the Dark. There, I made it through that. I missed one episode. Feel free to bitch at me in the comments below, whatever. If you can get to that, fuck you, Google+. But anyways, let's get to The Legend of Korra. Now, this is also going to be not only my thoughts on the episodes, that I mentioned, but it's also going to be my sum up and my review of Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits, as a whole. Because, well, if you guys didn't know, the season finale actually got leaked online. Well, leaked would actually mean that it, was taken without Nickelodeon's approval and just put online for everyone to see. It actually was put online by Nickelodeon's approval. So, a little more explanation, a little bit backstory. Jana Varney, the voice actress for Korra, the main character in The Legend of Korra, title character, I guess went on some type of blog, I believe Tumblr or I don't know, and made a video saying that the season finale to Legend of Korra will be released on Friday, November 15th at, 12 a.m. midnight. And she said that if that video that, had her saying that was reblogged at least 10,000 times in 12 hours, they would release the episode online for free at 12 a.m. midnight. And apparently they need 12 hours because in less than 2 hours it was reblogged over 10,000 times, and Nickelodeon was completely generous enough to give us the season finale at midnight on both Nick.com as well as some many various streams that were done by the Korra fans. So, guys, Korra fans watching this, holy shit, that is a fucking marvel, okay? If it wasn't for you, we would have to wait a whole nother week to get The Legend of Korra Book 2 Spirits season finale, and that's why even the creators and some of the voice actors consider the Korra fan base to be, the best fan base. Well, they kind of need to. I mean, they do make the show, but it literally is one of the best fan bases ever. So, the fans out there that did this, thank you so much. Thank you so damn much. From keeping me waiting a whole week to, watch the season finale. Thank you so much. And I did choose to watch the season finale online as opposed to waiting a whole another week because the cliffhanger that was at the end of Harmonic Convergence, I could not wait a week, okay? At the end of that, I was just like, God damn it, I swear to God, if I had to wait a week, I would have fucking went nuts, I'm telling you. So I was so happy that we were getting this at midnight. I was so damn happy. The episode will be airing for the unofficial first time on November 22nd at 8 p.m. But if you do want to watch it right now, it is online. I will put a link in the description for those episodes, as well as the episodes that I'm going to be reviewing that came previous to the season finale. So, there's that. But I did decide, to watch the episode, and if you have not seen the episode yet and want to wait for it to come out on TV, do not watch the rest of this video because this is completely spoiler-filled territory. So, again, if you haven't seen any of these episodes, get caught up and then watch them. Watch them, get caught up, then come back and watch this video. So, with that said, let's get my video started at 8 minutes in. This is going to be a real short video, guys. So let's start off with the guide. The guide I thought was a very, very decent episode. I didn't absolutely love it, and I even hated it at first, but I gave it a little bit more time for it to grow on me, and I ended up, liking it a lot as I've, seen with, multiple viewings. I enjoyed it a lot because I thought it was finally the episode that I really wanted to see where the characters were getting back to normal and they were acting more in character instead of out of character. It was also a really, really, really nice character development episode for Tenzin, because in this episode we learned that Tenzin apparently, ironically, does not know how to get into the spirit world and never has gone into the spirit world, and many of the characters, make fun of that in the episode, which is really, really nice seeing. It was a good episode overall. I really, really liked it. I, again, didn't like it at first, but multiple viewings later, I ended up really liking it and think it's one of the better episodes of Book 2. So the episode after, we have a new spiritual age, which was just visually beautiful. We do finally get into the spirit world after many episodes hyping it up, and it definitely did not disappoint, because this episode is by far, hands down, one of the best episodes, just plain and simple. It is just a great episode. And the thing about this season overall in Legend of Korra and the Avatar franchise that I like just in general is that it has a lot of throwbacks, and it does bring back multiple characters and multiple plot lines and, certain things from the original series or even previous seasons, depending on what show it is. But the thing is, they actually have a point to be brought back. Like, say something, let's take an example like the Star Wars prequels. The reason why I personally dislike some stuff in them, and the reason why a lot of people hate those, is because they just bring back stuff from the original movies that have no point at all being in the prequels. But here in Legend of Korra, they actually do have a point of bringing characters and plot elements back. It makes just a lot of sense, and they are part of the plot, which is, in New Spiritual Age, one example of that is General Iroh. Yes, everyone's favorite tea-loving uncle Iroh is back in this episode, but he's not brought back as, an actual human being. He's brought back as a spirit, which is explained in the episode by, him saying that he left his body in the material world, which I believe means he dies, so, rest in peace, Iroh. And he's now gone into the spirit world. I don't know exactly what the spirit is, maybe of tea making, but that's also really badass and cool. Or maybe the spirit of advice or just wiseness. That seems more suitable. And in this episode, like, the second I heard that voice, the second I heard Iroh, the second I heard and saw Iroh, I was left there sitting on my seat screaming for like a solid minute. I'm totally not kidding. I screamed like a girl. And really, can you blame me? It's fucking General Iroh, the best character in the Avatar franchise as a whole. I mean, he's personally, in my opinion, the best character. He's my favorite character of all time from the original Avatar series and now in Legend of Korra. I mean, he's just the fucking best. First of all, he's voiced by Mako, the actor, so that's number one. Don't know who he is. It's your fault. And he personally was, to me, the character that went through not the most change, but a lot of change, and yet still stayed the same, at least in my opinion. And he's brought back here, again, to do what everyone loves him doing. He's brought back in this episode to do what everyone loves to see him do: drink tea, be a badass, and give advice. That's the best way I could sum up his role in this episode. He has many great lines, but the one line that I really love, and I just want in a frame hanging over my bed somewhere, is one of the quotes is, "Many things that seem threatening in the dark become welcoming when we shine light upon them." I'm reading it over there, and I just love that line a whole hell of a lot. It really does fit the overall story with Book 2 Spirits. I love it. It's a great one. He also makes another really great quote, which is, I believe, I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure it was just that quote, but he also makes another really good quote, which I again can't remember, but it's a really great quote. Again, feel free to put it in the comments if you want. But this episode was great on multiple levels. Again, we get to see some stuff from the original Avatar series brought back, but again, it has a purpose being brought back, like the Spirit Library and Wa Shi Tong, the giant creepy owl librarian, which is just really, really creepy dude. This episode was just overall great. One of the best episodes in the series, in this season at all. Just great season. Great episode in this season. And then we have the next episode, which is, what's it called? Night of 1,000 Stars. That's the episode. This episode was a great Bolin episode. Just hands down, this is a great episode for Bolin. Who was a character that, who was one of the many characters in this season that I thought was just hanging around in the background doing really nothing. And that was a big thing that I never got to, talk about, because the season just had so many other stuff I needed to get to, which was Bolin not having a real role in it at all. I mean, yeah, sure, he was doing the whole Nut Tuck Chronicles or whatever, which, was going on with Varric. But he really wasn't doing anything useful, at least to me. But in this episode, it's pretty much set on the table. No, he was doing something useful. Just watch this episode and you'll find out. Because he's an absolute badass in this episode. I mean, that second one, he just ripped off his sleeves and was just kicking those Northern Water Tribes, foot soldiers' ass. I was in awe. It was just a simply badass moment. And that's another thing about this season that really disappointed me, was that they didn't really have a lot of cool or memorable moments that didn't involve characters from the original series. I thought that most of the moments that were really memorable and were standout moments to me were characters that were brought back from the original franchise. It shouldn't be that way. Yes, they're brought back for a reason, but your, standout moments should not be callbacks to your other good show. The standout moments should have the characters that you have now. And this show definitely proved that and brought that to the table because Bowen was just whooping everyone's ass in this episode. He saves the president. He pretty much throws this guy in jail. He just was just made up. Bowen just made up for his very minimal role in this, whole season. He just made up for it completely. He's one of my favorite characters in this series, personally. Just a great, great character. I love him. And I think this episode proved that he can be useful. He's not just the funny dude. He's not an idiot. He's just Bowen, and he's awesome. This episode was great. And I could literally hear the fangirls out there screaming when he ripped off his, sleeves and was just going to town on those other guys. It was a great episode for Bowen. Really great episode. I loved it. Also, something about this episode, which is something that I, wasn't at all surprised that Varric is still a funny-ass character. He may be evil, he may be sinister, but you know what? He's still a funny-ass dude, okay? He gets thrown in jail, and the jail cell that he's in is literally like a penthouse suite. Like, it has a super nice, big, comfy bed. It has, like, another room. It has, like, a bathroom. It has, like, a kitchen. And his assistant, Julie, is still there. Because, like he says, she never leaves my side. And that was just hilarious. See, like, it's a jail cell built completely for him, by him. And his excuse for building it was because, I had a feeling I was going to go to jail eventually. Which is just awesome and really funny. It actually does bring up a valid point in this episode, which was, in, certain little ways, he did help out some of the characters in this episode, like Korra and Asami and Bowen, except for Mako. He threw Mako in jail, and he does, sort of say that in a really funny line, like saying all the things that he, helped the others out with, and then he gets to Mako, and he's like, I threw you in jail. Oh wait, that was a bad thing. This is a great character, and he breaks out in Light in the Dark. I believe it was Light in the Dark. It could be the other episode before it, but, I believe it's Light in the Dark. He breaks out in that episode from the jail. He could come back in the future seasons. In fact, I demand to see Varric come back full force in the future season and just is up to any other sinister little plan that he can think of. I really want to see him come back. In fact, if you guys want him to come back, please let me know in the comments below because I can't be alone on this, okay? He needs to come back and do something even better. But this episode was also just a great episode, and I felt brought back all of the big standout moments for the show that involved their characters and not characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought it was a great episode. Very, very, highly recommend episode to you guys. And then the episode after that we have is Harmonic Convergence. Almost forgot there. And this was also another great, great episode that had their own characters doing really standout, awesome stuff. This episode, we finally get to see the whole harmonic convergence, begin, and Vaatu is officially freed in this episode. And in this episode, we finally do get to learn what Unalaq's big plan is, because in most of the season, it was very, very vague and sort of kept in the shadows, which I really do like. It wasn't really clear what Vaatu's, what Unalaq's big plan was. We didn't really know if he just wanted to free the spirits or whatever, or if he wanted to do what this episode actually does officially, confirm, which is he wants to become not only the next Avatar, but the Dark Avatar, the anti-Avatar, the complete antithesis of the Avatar. Other synonyms for, opposite Avatar, the Avatar that is not, Korra, the evil Avatar, which I thought was kind of a weak, idea. Like, it just seemed really cliche that we need to have now a opposite version of the good guy. I think it's, used way too often in a lot of, material and a lot of TV shows or comic books or movies or whatever. But here, the way it was done, it was actually pretty creative, and I really did like it. And the way that he does that is he wants to free Vaatu, the big leader of all the dark spirits, the evil spirit, and he wants to fuse with him almost the same way that Avatar 1 fused with Rava, and that's how he became the Avatar. Which I thought, again, didn't like at first, but the way that they did it, I actually did like, and it was a very, very sinister plan. And he also, wants to get rid of Rava and just wants an evil Avatar, not a good and an evil Avatar, just simply an evil Avatar. And that's another thing about this season that I really liked, is that the they completely upped the ante in this episode. Sure, Amon wanted to get rid of bending in the first season, but this was like a completely supernatural. Well, the Avatar series is completely supernatural, but this was like a supernatural spirit. Ghosts trying to take over the entire world and run darkness into it. They just upped the ante. Like, this affected the whole world as a whole. In fact, we even got like backup shots where the whole world was being shot. We even saw the moon. Yue. I couldn't help pointing that out. And, showing how much the dark spirits are affecting the world. That was just really interesting to see, and just something that I don't think we've ever seen before from Avatar. Just how badly this was affecting the world and everybody in it. It was just badass and just big and, awesome. So this episode was really, again, great. And we even get to see Boomy. That was something that they did constantly throughout this whole season, which was having Boomy explain these really ridiculous, almost rambling, completely false ways that he defeated certain people when he was in the United Republic Army. And here we actually get pretty much an explanation why, and how he, accomplished that. Like, sometimes he would say, I once took out this, 16-armed tiger octopus with an egg. And here it's explained, how he did that. Like, there's more to it, and that's just, a simplified explanation of how he did it. I really love that. I will not dare spoil it for you, one, because I can't really explain it, because I'm horrible at explaining things, and two, it's just a funny joke, and I really want you guys to see it for yourselves. But this episode was just very, very good. It was a very great episode. And then we get to the season finale, Darkness Falls and Light in the Dark. And this episode was just a big game-changing episode. Well, two episodes in one big 1 hour special. That was another thing I liked about the season. We got a lot more 1 hour specials. I would not mind seeing more 1 hour specials in future seasons, and that's something that's inevitable that will happen. This episode was a big game changer. Because of these episodes, nothing is ever going to be the same in this Avatar franchise ever again, as Korra says at the end of Light in the Dark, because this episode just changed everything. Vaatu fuses with Unalaq and becomes the Dark Spirit. Not only that, but he rips out Rava from Korra in a really disturbing, messed up scene that is probably going to leave a lot of really small children watching this with some fucking nightmare fuel. It's just nightmare fuel, dude. It rips her out of her mouth, which is really, again, kind of disturbing for a kid's show, and destroys her completely. Just wails on her, and just wails on Rava until she's just full spirit dust in the wind. And that's it. At that point, there was nothing at all. You could have stopped the episode there, and that could have been it. It would have pissed a lot of people off, but that could have been it, just right there. That was just the second I saw that, my just heart just ripped in half, because everything that we, knew, everything that was, sacred, everything that was, said before, and the reason why we have all this just destroyed. It was just shredded apart, literally. And, it was sad. It was genuinely sad. I wouldn't at all be surprised if people got teary-eyed over that. That was very, very just tragic to see happen. But of course, in usual Avatar fashion, there's always an explanation to how, they can get that back. And that's something that I really did not like about this personal episode, is that it ended on both a really very depressing, very mature, very, very mature. Again, that's the reason why I love this show, is because it's mature, and that it will, challenge kids to watch it, and it won't just, feed them a bunch of little kiddie garbage bullshit. It will, show kids mature things, and that's one of them. This was a very mature ending, but I think it could have been very more, darker and more mature if it left Korra with none of the Avatar powers and no connection to the past Avatars. What it does ultimately end up being, Korra is now completely cut off from the past Avatars. No longer can get any advice from them. You can't see Wan, Aang, Yoshi, Roku, anybody else can't at all get any advice from them, no longer. That's a big part of this game-changing episode. And that she still has her avatar powers, at least I believe that's what they said. If not, then again, one of the things that this really did change, but I believe she does get her abilities back. She can no longer talk to the avatars, though, which is, again, sad. We can't see Aang again. We can't see Roku or Kyoshi. It's just, it's done. It's ended. That's ended. And the next season will probably explore her getting that back, and that's what I think the whole season should have been. And a lot of people say that about the previous season. It should have ended with Korra, just being back, going right back to square one and having nothing. And the next season after should have been her, going through the challenges and growing as a character and getting everything back herself. That's something that, I really did not like about this episode. It both was very different, and yet almost exactly the same. Like, the villains in this were, waterbenders. The villains in the last season were waterbenders. Korra loses her powers, loses, a big chunk of her avatar abilities in the, last season. At the end of the last season, she loses a big chunk of her avatar abilities at the end of this season. I really hated that. And it's almost, fixed just like the last season, where, it's just, we'll just give you some fucking Deus Ex Machina, and boom, you're, the avatar, technically. But this did not at all pull, last season finale, which was, we'll give you back everything, no repercussions whatsoever. No, there will be repercussions. There will be, you're not going to have everything back. Nothing's going to ever be the same. That's why this season, I thought, this season finale at least, was a huge, vast improvement from the last season, and I believe should have been the way that the last season had ended. Korra just, saying, what, I fucked up, but what, I need to, go through the challenges, and I need to figure out what to do. And that's probably what the next season is going to be again. Korra going through, more character development, more character building, and getting back her avatar and becoming the avatar again. But if they don't do that, I'm still perfectly fine with it, because, as Korra says at the end of this episode, Light in the Dark, a new spiritual age has begun, bringing this whole, season completely full circle, because this is now a new age, a new, Avatar Korra, an age where the Avatar can no longer be, no longer connect with the past Avatars. It is now just the Avatar. And in a way, as they showed in this episode, the other Avatars were being destroyed as Rava was being destroyed, and she can no longer talk to the other Avatars, so in a metaphorical and symbolic way of speaking, Korra is pretty much the only avatar ever as existed. She's the only avatar. She's the new first avatar. And that's why the whole, plot line and the whole full circle thing of, a new spiritual age has begun and a new age has begun is perfect. Because a new age with a new avatar has begun. She didn't close the spirit portal. She left it open so that spirits and humans can coexist together. And a new age has begun. The other avatars she can no longer talk to. The other avatars, as far as she knows, do not exist to her anymore, because she is now the first avatar. She is Korra. She is the avatar. This is a new age. She is a new avatar. Unlike the others, a new age has begun. That is badass, and that made up completely for this season. I had so many disappointing moments with this season. We had to wait a year and a half to see this season come. So many disappointing things happened, and this episode made up for it completely. It left off on such a mature note, and even better, Korra and Mako, they don't get back together. They don't. I was hoping, I was pleading that they do not get back together, and that the creators and the writers take a mature route, and take the route that nobody would expect. I did not expect them to do that. I had hoped, but I did not expect them to do that. And they did do that. They brought this character who, in the beginning of the season, was perfect and did everything, who was, perfect and was on top of the world, and brought her right back to the bottom. but had her be mature about it and had her be an adult about it. And that was my big complaint with Legend of Korra. Korra was a child. She was not acting like the Avatar, and she was not acting anything like an adult. But in the end, even if she isn't the Avatar, she is now acting more like it. Again, adding to the whole symbolic nature and the maturity of it, she is now a new Avatar. She's pretty much reborn, and so is a new age. That, again, is awesome. There's so many different ways to look at this. And remember, it's a kid show. A kid show should not have this much. You know what? Scratch that, what I just said. That's what people think kid shows should not have. Okay, that kid shows should not be mature like this. It should not have a lot of symbolism and metaphorical ways of getting things across. But you know what? Just because they're animated and put on kids' television doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. And that's the reason why I gave up on Cartoon Network, for example. They were not trying. There was nothing to be seen. There was no effort. Just because it's kids shows. But kids shows should probably be the most important to show maturity and should probably be the most important things to show effort because these are kids. When you put something like this on Nickelodeon and kids are watching it, you're probably inspiring kids to do something similar to this when they grow up and when they want to be writers, when they want to be animators, when they want to be storytellers as their career. That's why it's important to have kid shows have effort and have creativity in them because you're inspiring others to do the same. That's why when shows like Young Justice and Green Lantern, the animated series, get canceled and Annoying Orange and Uncle Grandpa get a go-ahead, I cry myself to fucking sleep. I brought it all the way back around, didn't I? I went from Legend of Korra to fucking Young Justice. I promised myself I would get around to Young Justice, and I would talk about Young Justice one more damn time by the end of this year. I'm so pissed about that, by the way. I will never not be pissed off about it. Ever. I will remain pissed off about that until the day they bring it back. Fuck you, Cartoon Network. Fuck you. I just went in a completely different direction. I don't even know what road I'm on anymore. I don't even know where I'm going with this. But this was still a great episode. It had a lot of symbolism, which, again, never mind. But it was a great, great episode. It made up completely for everything I hated about the season to begin with. And just brought it full circle, you know. I knew the reason why Korra was such a bitch and why she was so annoying in the beginning was to bring her to this point. But it was just so damn irritating seeing her get to this point. It was so annoying. But this, in certain ways, is better than the last season. And I never thought that would happen, especially with the way this season was going. But it did turn out to be a great season. And really showed that the Avatar creators and writers, they're awesome. They are still going strong. And they are still just awesome. They've still haven't lost their touch. They still got the touch. You can even hear Stan Bush saying it in the background. I mean, they still got it. They still got it. That was something I was so not expecting. Again, with the way the season was going. They made up for it. They really did. And this season was just great on so many different levels. The series will never be the same again. And then that's a good thing. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's good. And the way that Korra, inspires a new age to begin, I hope this show really inspires animators and writers to make a new age of animated programming like this that's mature and for kids. That's it. Legend of Korra is finally, it hasn't come to an end. We still got 2 more seasons to go. Don't know when they're going to come out, but still 2 more seasons to go. Legend of Korra is, book 2's done. And it went by really fast, considering that this was actually 2 more episodes longer than the last season, but it went by really fast. It started in September and ends already. I'm not gonna lie, it's really sad. So, that's all I have to say about Legend of Korra Book 2 as a whole. It had its ups, had its downs, but overall, it still managed to stay the same. And it still managed to stay great. No different than the last season, no different than the series before it. After Legend of Korra is still great as usual. It's still my favorite show that is on TV. Doesn't mean it's, my favorite show of all time. Young Justice still holds that spot. I really hope that the series can inspire shows like that to not only be made, but come back. That's all I gotta say about that. And I'll see you guys soon with more videos about Christmas. Hopefully not as long as this one, but still probably as informative. So, go watch Legend of Korra. I'll put links to the episodes in the description. Buy it when it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray. I know I am. And just continue to support the show and do whatever you can to, still keep it as good as it is. And Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, you guys are my heroes. Just in the millionth of a chance that you guys are watching this video, you guys are my heroes. Good for you. Just, you got a great show in your hands. Just, that's it. So, that's about that. And I guess the big question on everyone's hands is, what the fuck is book 2? Or, fuck! I messed up that line. What the fuck is book 3, I meant to say. I just ruined that. As I do all my videos. And probably everyone's dick. I'm sad. I'm gonna go cry.